Ever wonder if there's any truth to those stories about magic?
I mean, not the pulling a rabbit out of a hat kind, but like the real deal, you know?
That's what we're diving into today, the world of actual magic practitioners.
The kind who perform rituals
Yeah.
believe they can tap into these unseen forces.
Right.
And get this, our source material isn't some dusty old grimoire. It's a research article from, get this, the Journal of Scientific Exploration.
Wow. So they're taking a really scientific lens to a world that's often, shrouded in mystery.
That's what's so fascinating about this.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about, people who dabble in crystals and horoscopes here.
No, absolutely not.
These are like dedicated practitioners, right?
Dedicated practitioners,
Right.
rigorously vetted for the study.
Oh, really? They went through a whole vetting process.
They did because they wanted to make sure they were dealing with people who really knew their stuff.
So tell me more about these individuals then. Who are these magicians the research focused on?
So these participants, they were the real deal. They were recruited from a private group led by a renowned expert in the field. And to even be part of this group, you had to really know what you were doing. Think like over 100 hours of advanced courses on magical theory and practice. This wasn't just a hobby. Active engagement in magical work was a requirement for membership.
They really walk the walk, don't they?
They do, yeah.
It's fascinating to think that this research is really delving into the practices of a group this dedicated. Did the study reveal any common threads among these individuals? Age, background, anything like that?
You might expect a certain profile, but here's a surprise. The study found a remarkably diverse range of individuals from various ages, nationalities, educational backgrounds. Even their religious and spiritual beliefs were diverse. Yeah. So it really showcases the multifaceted nature of this world.
I love that. It's a good reminder that the world of magic, like any other, is full of so many diverse perspectives.
Absolutely.
But let's get down to the nitty-gritty here.
Okay.
When we say magic, what are we actually talking about? What did these practitioners do?
Well, instead of getting caught up in specific rituals or traditions, the researchers, they focused on the core techniques that are common to various magical practices.
Okay.
And here's where it gets interesting. It's all about focused mental exercises, almost like a kind of mental training.
Interesting.
Think meditation, visualization techniques used to channel intent and potentially influence reality.
So we're talking less about waving wands and more about harnessing the power of the mind.
Precisely. The research, it refers to self-created and systematic experimental induction techniques.
Okay.
Methods surprisingly similar to, meditation, mindfulness, even guided imagery used in therapy.
That's incredible. It's almost like saying there's a scientific basis to these techniques that these practitioners are using.
Yeah.
But how do we connect that to the seemingly unexplainable? The inexplicable things we often associate with magic.
Yeah, that's where things get even more captivating. The research dives into this fascinating concept called transliminality.
Okay.
So imagine having like a thin boundary between your conscious and unconscious mind, making you highly sensitive to both your inner world and the external environment.
Transliminality, it sounds almost like a superpower. But how does this tie into the study of magic?
So think of it this way. Transliminality could be like having a sixth sense, right? A heightened sensitivity to subtle energies, intuitive insights, even psychic experiences. Now picture a magician who hones this sensitivity through practices like meditation and visualization. They might be able to control and direct this heightened awareness, potentially tapping into something that most people don't even realize exists.
Now, that's a truly captivating thought.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that these individuals might be what we could call trained transliminals?
That's exactly what the research suggests.
Wow.
In fact, these magicians scored significantly higher on transliminality tests compared to the general population.
Wow. Does that mean anyone can become a magic master just by working on their mental flexibility?
Well, while it seems some individuals might have a natural predisposition,
okay,
the research highlights the potential for anyone to benefit from these practices. Remember those similarities with meditation and mindfulness we discussed? Wow. So even if you're not looking to conjure up anything out of the ordinary, these techniques could be valuable for everyday life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Managing stress,
Strength,
boosting creativity,
creativity, yeah.
or even simply becoming more in tune with your own thoughts and feelings.
Absolutely. But here's where it takes an unexpected turn. The researchers drew a parallel between these trained transliminals, our magicians, and individuals experiencing something called haunted people syndrome.
Okay, now that sounds like something straight out of a ghost story.
What exactly is haunted people syndrome?
It's not like a love for spooky movies or anything.
Okay.
It refers to people who, they experience persistent and often unsettling paranormal phenomena.
Yep.
And the research suggests that these individuals, they might also possess a high degree of this transliminality.
Okay.
But unlike our trained magicians, they haven't really developed the tools to manage the sensitivity, so
Right.
it can lead to a lot of fear and distress.
So we have these two groups of people who might, share a similar mental makeup.
Yeah.
But one has learned to navigate it and potentially even control those experiences, and the other one hasn't.
Precisely. Yeah, think of it like this.
Yeah.
Imagine having a radio, right?
Okay.
That's always tuned to a station with constant static.
Okay.
For some, that might be overwhelming, even scary.
Right.
But someone else might learn to, fine-tune that radio, separate the noise from the actual signals, even control the volume. And that's what these magicians might be doing, learning to embrace and direct those thin boundaries for their own purposes.
That's a powerful analogy. It really makes you think about the potential power of the human mind.
Yeah.
But this research goes even further, doesn't it? Didn't they actually test the ESP abilities of these magicians?
They did.
What'd they do?
And they designed this experiment to test for ESP,
Okay.
specifically using a smartphone app that was, designed to measure extrasensory perception.
Okay, now that's getting into some truly uncharted territory.
Yeah.
What did they find? Were these magicians actually able to demonstrate, psychic abilities?
So here's where things took an unexpected turn.
Okay.
The magicians' results were statistically significant,
Okay.
but not in the way you might think. They consistently scored below chance on these tests.
Wait, you're telling me they performed worse than random chance?
Yeah.
That's unexpected, to say the least.
It was very strange.
You'd think if anyone could beat the odds, it would be these, highly trained individuals.
Exactly. It left the researchers scratching their heads, too.
Yeah.
One theory they proposed is something called tech dissonance.
Tech distance.
So the idea is that the magicians' unconscious minds, they might have resisted the artificial tech-based setting of the app.
Okay.
Remember, their practices typically involve rituals, ceremonies,
Right.
a very different environment than tapping on a screen,
Right.
So it's possible this clash of environments interfered with their process.
That's fascinating. It's like trying to bake a cake using a microwave instead of an oven.
Right.
It just doesn't quite work the same way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Were there any other explanations offered?
There was another, even more intriguing possibility. So some magicians believe they work with spirits to,
Right.
to achieve their magical goals.
So-
And the researchers proposed that perhaps these spirits weren't too keen on being subjected to such a controlled experiment.
Okay.
Maybe they even decided to throw a wrench in the works,
Right.
leading to those unexpectedly low scores.
Wow. So we're left with these two possible explanations. Tech dissonance.
Mhm.
The idea that the technology itself interfered or
Right.
trickster spirits.
Yeah.
The possibility that otherworldly entities just decided to play a prank on the researchers.
Right,
It
exactly.
really makes you wonder.
It does, and that's the beauty of scientific exploration, especially when you're dealing with phenomena as mysterious as magic.
Right.
Sometimes the most unexpected results lead to the most intriguing questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But this entire discussion around transliminality, this potential for heightened sensitivity, it makes you wonder about the role of belief in all this.
Yeah.
If someone believes strongly enough in their abilities, could that belief itself influence outcomes?
That's a question that has, puzzled philosophers and scientists for ages.
Of course.
It's like the old adage, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. But is there any actual science to back that up, especially when it comes to magic?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
consider the placebo effect.
Okay.
The mere belief that you're receiving a powerful medicine can trigger real measurable physiological changes in the body.
Or yeah.
And And the realm of magic takes this concept of belief to a whole new level.
So are you suggesting that if a magician truly believes in their spell, in their ability to influence the world around them, that belief itself could increase the chances of it actually happening?
So it's not a simple cause and effect situation.
Right.
But the research does hint at a possible connection.
Okay.
Remember transliminality, those thin mental boundaries.
Right, right.
One theory suggests that individuals with higher transliminality might be more susceptible to the power of belief. Their heightened sensitivity to both their inner and outer worlds could make them more receptive to suggestion,
Okay.
more easily influenced by their own thoughts and expectations.
So it's not just about like consciously believing in a certain outcome, but also those subconscious beliefs,
Wow.
those deeply ingrained expectations we might not even be aware of.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if deep down you don't truly believe you're worthy of winning the lottery,
Right.
even the luckiest rabbit's foot won't change your odds.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
And it brings up another crucial element in many magical practices.
Okay.
Intention.
Intention, okay.
It's not enough to simply wish for something to happen.
Right.
You have to actively direct your energy and focus towards that desired outcome.
So it's about aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions towards a specific goal.
Yes.
Not just like passively hoping for the best, but like really putting in the mental effort
Yes. Putting in the work.
to manifest it.
Precisely.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, but
Yeah.
what about the skeptics?
Sure.
Those who say it's all just wishful thinking,
Yeah.
that there's no real evidence to support the claims of magic.
Right.
How does this research address those criticisms?
Well, here's the challenge with studying a subject like magic.
Yeah.
It's inherently complex.
Right.
There have been studies showing correlations between certain practices and real-world outcomes.
Okay.
But proving causation is incredibly difficult.
Right.
We're not talking about a simple equation where A plus B always equals C.
Right.
Magic, as it's presented in this research, involves a complex interplay of belief, intention, and mental discipline.
So it's not as straightforward as saying, if you perform this specific ritual, you'll get this specific result.
Right.
It's more about creating the right internal and external conditions for something to manifest.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting, because it starts to blur the lines between what we perceive as real and what we consider imagined.
Right.
What if our beliefs and expectations actually influence the fabric of reality itself?
Yeah.
What if the act of focusing our intention, of truly believing in our ability to shape the world around us,
Right.
can create ripples we're only beginning to understand?
Now you're really venturing into the realm of what some might call woo-woo.
Perhaps.
But if we entertain that idea for a moment, what you're suggesting is that we are not just passive observers of reality, but active participants in its creation.
Precisely.
Wow.
And that's one of the compelling aspects of this research.
Right.
It challenges us to reconsider our relationship with the world around us.
Okay.
Whether you subscribe to the beliefs and practices of these magicians or not,
Right.
their experiences, coupled with this scientific lens, offer a fascinating perspective on the potential power of the human mind.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, if our thoughts and beliefs can shape reality, even in subtle ways, shouldn't we be more mindful of what we're putting out there?
It's a thought-provoking idea, to say the least.
It is.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, from
Yeah.
transliminality and ESP to the power of belief and intention. Before we wrap things up, there's one final aspect of this research that I find particularly intriguing. The idea that there might be a dark side to all of this.
Yeah.
Right? The potential for a darker side to all of this.
Yeah, it's crucial to approach this topic with, nuance magic. Like any tool can be used for both beneficial and harmful purposes.
Right.
And the line between the two isn't always clear cut.
It sounds like the old adage, with great power comes great responsibility, might apply here.
Absolutely.
So what exactly are we talking about when we refer to the dark side of magic? Are we picturing those cinematic villains attempting world domination with dark spells, or is it something a little more subtle?
It's rarely about those dramatic Hollywood-esque scenarios. The potential risks are often more more personal, more internal.
Okay.
Remember how we discussed those thin mental boundaries and heightened sensitivity associated with transliminality?
Right. Those individuals who seem to pick up on every subtle energy shift in a room
Hmm.
or get overwhelmed easily in crowded, chaotic environments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Imagine someone with that heightened sensitivity, but without the tools, the self-awareness or the training to manage it effectively.
Okay.
They might be more susceptible to negative energies, um, more vulnerable to manipulation, or even prone to, kind of getting lost in their own internal landscapes.
So it's less about malevolent curses or hexes and more about the potential psychological risks of exploring something so powerful without proper understanding or guidance.
Precisely. Precisely. It's akin to trying to handle a high performance race car without knowing how to drive.
Okay.
The potential for things to go wrong is significant.
Right.
That's why for practitioners of magic, developing a strong ethical compass and a deep understanding of themselves is just as crucial as any,
Right.
ritual or technique they might learn.
So the dark side isn't necessarily some external force or entity,
Yeah.
but rather the potential for those internal shadows to surface and potentially take hold if not carefully managed.
That's a powerful way to put it. And this isn't unique to the world of magic either.
Right.
It's a risk inherent in any form of spiritual exploration or personal growth journey.
Right.
If we're not grounded, if we don't have that strong sense of self and a commitment to ethical behavior,
Right.
we can easily get sidetracked or even lose ourselves along the way.
That's a sobering thought. It highlights the importance of approaching these topics with respect, with caution,
Yes.
and a commitment to personal responsibility.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But ultimately, the takeaway here is that true power, true magic, lies not in manipulating external forces or entities,
Right.
but in understanding and harnessing the incredible potential within each of us.
It's about recognizing that we all possess this innate ability to learn, to grow, to create positive change, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
And that in itself is a kind of magic we can all strive for.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of magic practitioners. We've explored the scientific research, we delved into the fascinating concept of transliminality, and even touched upon the potential risks and ethical considerations.
We've learned that there's much more to magic than meets the eye, that it's a realm deeply intertwined with human consciousness, intention, and the power of belief.
So whether you're a skeptic or a believer, we encourage you to keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep an open mind as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the human mind and the universe we inhabit.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.